that. And yeah, I think things are looking great in the new JJ Redick era of Lakers basketball. And there's a lot to be excited about for Lakers fans, not just this game, but really continue on into the season.
Y'all can hear me, right? Sorry, the stream's been really laggy. I was trying to talk when you were like, "What's up, guys?" or whatever, and I couldn't. But yeah, basically, for me, I'm really excited for a lot of reasons. I haven't been on the show for 6 or 7 weeks now. After I worked on a movie, I had one family thing come up one week. I got a real full time job, which everyone on Twitter always tells me to do. And now I'm back. Technically, I'm on the clock, but fuck all that because Lakers basketball is back. And I'm ready to dedicate a lot of time to talk about what I thought was our best opening night game that I can remember. Obviously, first win on opening night in 8 years, but just what we were seeing from JJ, what we were seeing from AD, what we were seeing from Rui after being a little discouraged in the preseason, and then a lot of things on the way, like Vanderbilt, Wood, who I have faith in a JJ system, as well as Koloko hopefully getting cleared because he could solve the backup center issue. I do believe he's a good player. I'm all over the place, but there's a lot to talk about with the Lakers right now. So, me coming back this week, and if you're coming over from my Twitter, obviously you know who I am, SMJ. That's it. But yeah, I don't know where I was going with that. Anyway, yeah, I'm really excited to be back talking Lakers. I guess I'm a little rusty. I've been out of the podcast game like I'm JJ. I'm just coming back to it. So good to see you boys as always. Had fun with you guys watching the first game on here. We'll try to do some on the Quest for 18 room as well. And yeah, we're back.
Yeah, I'm excited too. Obviously, Lakers basketball is back full time with the Lakers content. I'm excited, man. There's a lot of fun stuff to talk about. I think overall we can talk about just how the vibes were a lot different. Darvingham, sorry. Shout out to Lakers Land in the chat. Always good to see you, of course. But yeah, we have a lot to break down today. But yeah, I'm really excited. I will just start off by saying this before we get into anything. Anthony Davis is the number one option, like we talked about going into the offseason. He will be number one moving forward, and I think we seen that last night or the night before. Sorry.
Well, just to quickly add on that point before we officially get started, and I kind of said this to you boys the other night as well, but AD has officially taken over from LeBron. I think it's fair to say as the number one. Now, oh, appreciate that, Lakers land. One of the GOAT listeners in the chat. Um, yeah, I think basically like Anthony Davis and LeBron were kind of in a back and forth the last 2 years of who's the real number one option. But I think AD definitely now is the number one option on defense and on offense.
Yeah, of course, we're going to, like you said, deep dive everything going on. About who's the number one option as of right now is Anthony Davis. Will eventually still be LeBron James. I'll go through, like I said, the entire game recap. Like I said, preview our highlights. Our top three players. We're going to tier list an updated one of at least our top three players, S through A or S through D, you could say. And also, yeah, like I said, also follow Lakerland. I'll be looking for a link to drop down for us to follow once again. Shout out to him and thank you for the donation. And yeah, at least for you guys, my first question I used to get through one of the main topics is LeBron James and Bronny James. They made history being one of the first son and dad duos to ever play together in a actual NBA game. And these what you guys thought about that history making moment.
I was excited. I think it happened exactly as it should happen. Obviously, we would have loved to see Bronny James or Bron score off each other's assists. I think that would have been like the ideal situation. But I have to credit JJ Redick. I'm gonna do a lot of that today about how he went about doing this. Like in a game where it's really starting off the most important game of the season, obviously. We want to win opening night. We haven't won opening night in LeBron James 80 era yet. So he found a way to keep the game about winning and also introducing a historic moment without it feeling like forced. Like it was just in the flow of the game. It was like kind of not the end of the second, but a little bit halfway midpoint. Threw him in there for like 2 minutes, and it worked. It worked. Everybody, the crowd went crazy. You have support from the crowd. LeBron James and Bronny, you seen like the clips of Bron, like it's just you can tell it boosts Bron's spirits. Like he's on the sideline telling his kid, like, hey, be calm. Like just don't worry about mistakes. Go out there and play basketball. And when you put it into perspective like that, I just have to appreciate the game. Like LeBron James has given so much to the sport of basketball, and to give back like this little piece for him to share the court with his son. Not saying it's gonna be the last time, obviously, but just having that first moment, like you only get a first moment once. So him experiencing that, having the chance to get that assist to Bronny. I mean, him doing that, the craziest dunk of the night, that tomahawk, while Bronny's in the other corner looking at him. Like that's historic. Like, that's crazy to think about. So, and this whole situation as well, like Bronny, he had a really, really, really bad health scare. Like it could have been it. And now he's out there playing basketball for one of the most historic teams in NBA history. And with LeBron James, one of the best players, top two, arguably, not really arguably, greatest players of all time. So I think, like, put it in its perspective, I think it was a great moment. I think JJ did a good job of letting Brown have that moment while also keeping the focus on, hey, we have to go out here and compete and win the game. And to that credit, he did it perfectly. Like, not too long, 2 minutes. You got your couple possessions. Everything looked clear. I think the lead cut down maybe like by 4 points, something like that. Boom, checked them out, and then we went back to business. So I think it went perfectly. Obviously, like I said, him scoring would have been great, but I think for the moment, I love it as a Lakers fan, and I love it as just like an outsider watching. Like that has to be a fun moment for a family.
Yeah, it was a really cool moment. I like what you said about how they went about it. I think I was impressed just because you don't know like how it's gonna go or if it's gonna be overdone. I will say I thought it was very funny, like after the fact. I didn't even realize when we were on stream, but like Bronny had passed. I think I just kind of missed this possession, but Bronny early on had passed the ball to LeBron, and LeBron jacked up like a contested three from like halfway to half court or something, like just to try to get that son to father assist. And then Bronny had a chance to hit a three on a LeBron pass. And I mean, you guys probably remember, I damn near screamed a little. I was like, whoa, but it missed. It was a good shot. It was actually very, very, very close. One of the closer Bronny shots I've seen, to be fair. But I'm excited more. This is maybe a hot take, but as a lifelong Lakers fan who's also a lifelong LeBron fan, I'm really happy for their family, but I'm kind of excited to move on from this saga, if that makes sense. And I'm not trying to be negative, and I'm not trying to be like anti-LeBron at all because I love him. I love Bronny too, but I still am like watching this guy like – he has a lot of potential, but he's not ready for the NBA. And I feel like, you know, when you get older, maybe you can realize that with even clearer vision. For example, us three are all a couple years older than Bronny. So I feel like we have at least a decent understanding of what goes into, I mean, look, none of us are close to making the NBA, so we can't know that side. But there's a certain maturity you get even when you're 22 or 23. And that's going to be a big theme for the Lakers draft class, because what Dalton Connect possesses in his confidence and maturity and skill set is something that he developed over time by being, and he's what, 3 years older than Bronny, I would say, at least 2 and some change. But Bronny needs time in the preseason, and my point is really I'm kind of excited to move on from that and just see what he becomes in the G League. I think I would tune into some G League games to watch Bronny, genuinely. And I think a lot of people feel that way, and that's not something you could normally say about the G League. But the problem is the G League does start in November, and I want to remind people that, because I know there's going to be Lakers fans online who are like, why is he not already being sent to the G League? Like, there's no G League to go to until November, and he's on a guaranteed contract. So you'll be seeing him on the bench. And I would not hate if he got in for the last 2 minutes of blowouts or the last 6 minutes of blowouts, whatever it may be. There's no problem with that. But he can't be coming in the second quarter at all anymore. I don't think you can get away with that. And I think just like Earl said, it worked out so well in the flow of that game. We don't know if that's going to happen for all the other ones. So I'm more excited to talk about other Lakers basketball topics with you guys, but obviously that's a situation that has to be addressed as well.
Definitely was a great moment. Of course, Brian didn't get that first game shot, or you say first game points, but it was definitely a great opportunity, at least from a great pass from LeBron James, and just excited to see what Bronny can do. Like I said, it's very much unknown how much he will be getting. Like I said, JJ Redick said he wants to incorporate Bronny James into that first game. So it's going to be interesting to see if he does include him within these next couple games going on versus Phoenix and versus many other teams. So it's just like, what can Bronny James do, and will he develop with the minutes given to by JJ Redick? Like I said, moving forward, this JJ Redick now. What are you guys' thoughts on his performance? What is your official grade for that first game?
Yeah, I'll say JJ Redick. He's surprised. Well, I'll say this. I believed in what JJ Redick can bring to this team, but believing it and like seeing it happen are two different things. It's not that you didn't believe it was going to happen, but seeing it like live on TV and other people seeing it as well just brings everything full circle. So I think I was a big preacher this offseason about how I know we didn't make a lot of moves. I still think there's a couple pieces that we could go get right now to make this an even better roster and potentially a championship contender, but we'll talk about that later. But base level, Darvin Ham versus JJ Redick. JJ Redick just knows basketball. I know all you guys seen the memes. I know Jake has too. He's posted some of those as well. Just like the difference between Darvin Ham's like timeout talks and JJ Redick. Like we got Darvin Ham saying energy and effort, salute. Like, and then we got JJ Redick. All right, breaking down this. Hey, this is where you're supposed to be in this corner. He's taking players. Like I noticed that too during timeouts. Like I think Jake brought this to my attention too while we were watching the stream. Like he's actively talking to players. Like, hey, you're in the wrong spot. He's getting up out of his seat, yelling in a good way at players. Like, hey, you need to be here. You gotta be more active on the glass. Like reminding players, hey, this is what we talked about. And I think that comes with accountability. Accountability starts up top and it's infectious. Like if your coach is keeping you accountable, the players next to you are keeping you accountable, then that's how you play winning basketball. I would much rather lose a game like this where it's well coached than sitting in a Darvin Ham system where we're winning on accident and just by the will of our players. People were in the right spots pretty much all night. And like I went back and rewatched some of that game as well because I was a little bit upset at D'Lo. But like watching the clips again, like almost every shot he got was open. Like almost every shot he misses open. And I know D'Lo, yes, he has his bad games, but he was a really great 3-point shooter last year, and we can't ignore that. It's not going to be on a consistent basis where he goes 1 for 7 for three. I truly don't believe that. So this new system is setting up guys to hit open shots, and that's because of JJ Redick setting these guys up with easy offense. Look at Rui Hachimura. He was a utility guy. He was crashing the glass almost every play. Did he get every offensive rebound? No, but he had tip outs. He was being aggressive on the glass, everything. So just having that impact, putting confidence into your players, it's amazing. I'll even say Max Christian, like we talked about some of the bad shots he was taking, that almost puts in my head like, oh, JJ's out there like, hey, be confident in your shot. Like, don't be scared to take shots. Like, yeah, did it look bad when he missed some of those? Yes. But we had last year moments where Max Christie just wouldn't shoot the ball. He would rush, try to pass it to LeBron or AD and get silly turnovers. So I see it as just progression as far as the roster's growth and confidence. So I like that standpoint from JJ Redick. We won a game, which I'm sure we'll talk about, shooting under 20% from three. Like when those threes are hitting, I mean, potentially we could talk about blowouts, some situations. So I'm excited, man. I think JJ Redick, my grade for him, I'm gonna give him a. I'm gonna give him a. Really, I was gonna say I don't want to go too high because I don't want the staring to be like that, but I'll go A minus. I think Obviously, there's some things everybody can always improve. But yeah, I think I'll start with A minus. He did really good. I was really impressed. First coaching experience game ever on this level of basketball, came out with a win. So I'll go A minus.
Yeah, you made some really good points there, Earl. First of all, shout out to Mind of Braun, aka Mao, in the chat, one of my goats, one of the GOAT Laker Twitter accounts. Second of all, on JJ Redick, I'm proud to say since the start, I understood what he does bring to the table. I'm not trying to take credit for being like, oh, JJ is going to be an amazing coach. I don't know if I ever said that, but I feel like I definitely did say this is a long-term hire. And I think even the Lakers made that clear, especially over the summer through press conferences and stuff. Like, this is the type of guy who I trust JJ to go take this Lakers team into the next phase after LeBron. I didn't know the results of what could happen with LeBron and AD and like this current team, but I still am like very optimistic. I just trust him going down the road because he's a very big competitor and he's very intense at times and he expects a lot. And you see the clips from practice and you see the sound bites from the games. It's like, at the end of the day, if you have a job, no matter what that is, and you love it and you're qualified and you love it and you care, like you care to that level that JJ cares, you're going to be successful. And JJ cares more than almost any coach that I've seen. He has a lot to prove for himself in his career, right? He may not always be the Lakers coach, or maybe he will. But if he wants to be a coaching legend, he has a ton to prove. And if he wants another job or to re-sign another contract, he does have a ton to prove. And he just loves basketball and he understands it. Like JJ has always been the guy who can break down a play and say, hey, if we run this horns action and you're there, you're going to get the open shot, or this off-ball pick is going to get this guy to the basket. And it's like he understands. I'm explaining it like elementary school, and he understands it better than almost anyone in the world, just how to run an offense, even on defense. Like everyone's like, he's an offensive coach. Not really, because he's learned so much from basketball about the defensive end that he understands how schemes need to work on defense too. And he's gone up against it himself. He's had teams play him as a shooter and an off-ball movement guy in so many different ways that now he understands how to get Rui and Reeves better shots or Christie better shots. So I have all the confidence in the world. I think this is a hot take because it's been one game. I think we're going to look back and say it was one of the best Laker kind of signings or moves of all time if he can last the way I think he's going to. Now, I'm not saying we're going to win the championship this year. I don't know. But I think over time, having JJ around to grow a culture here is going to benefit the team more than anything we've seen in so long. And honestly, like, as much as I criticize the Lakers organization in the past, I think they deserve major props for this move, especially when I feel like there weren't a lot of good coaches out there on the coaching market. And if you go with James Borrego, if you go with JB Bickerstaff or something, it's like, yeah, that may feel safer for that 1 year, but you're probably going to end up firing that guy again. And I do think JJ is like higher risk at the start, but much, much higher reward. And you can build a culture here. My grade for JJ before we move on is A+. I don't think it could be anything but A+. And that's not me just being too optimistic. It was his first game coaching at any level besides his son's, whatever it was, 5th grade, 6th grade travel team or whatever. He hasn't coached. And if you go and you're a head coach of a team like the Lakers, who are the biggest brand in sports, or at least in the NBA, them and the Celtics, you go coach for the Lakers and beat the 3rd seed in the West, who basically had the same record as the 1st seed. Like who went as far as they did last season. They beat the Nuggets last season. They brought back like a very similar version of the team. Like Towns, yeah, I understand Towns, but like basically, point is JJ beat the Timberwolves in game 1, and then we see all these clips of the plays we were running on offense. We see his interaction with players. We see how he does things the right way and takes accountability. I think he's one of the best interviews in sports right now in the media. I don't know why he gets disrespected. They act like, oh, why is the Laker coach talking like this? It's awesome, and he's going to have his own tone and energy just like Popovich does in interviews. I think if it's your first game and you do what you just did after 8 years of not winning an opening night as the Lakers, you got an A+. There's no other grade that works because none of us can go in and do what he just did. None of us. And a lot of NBA coaches, I don't even know if they can guarantee a win there. But he did, and it was his first game. So he gets an A+ for me.
Yeah, for me, I got JJ Redick. Like I said, I like to keep expectations to a minimum. For me, like I said, I could be a harsh grader, one per se. I give him this a B+. Like I said, for me, I can't reach that A right now. Like I said, it's his first game. I would like to see him develop. Like I said, we had stretches where Minnesota was starting to climb back, but he did a great job of calling the right timeouts. Like I said, what is Chris Darwin have of calling the wrong timeouts? Like I said, so it's just like for JJ Redick to be that disciplined and recognize and be aware of, hey, my team's not on a good streak. We're missing shots. Like I said, they were absolutely terrible from 3-point land in last game. So it's just all about JJ Redick is improving. Like I said, I'll see him improve. I think he can develop great. And like I said, this is, although a 1-game sample, I think this is a 1-game sample you can still be excited about. So like I said, whether it be a B+ or even higher, any grade is fair in my opinion.
Yeah, you guys make great points. I feel like the thing that gets me too is, like you guys said, like this is the first game of the season. You're coaching the Lakers. We're probably the biggest dumpster fire as far as media attention you can join as an organization. Every game is the game, and you're going to get criticized just like that. You're going to get criticized like every game is game 7, especially in the eyes of Lakers fans. So for me, JJ Redick take on that challenge. I think Alan said it well too. Like there were stretches where, okay, Timberwolves are kind of climbing back. We talked about this. Boom. Here comes a perfectly set up timeout. Okay, cool. They climb back a little bit, boom, another timeout. And it sounds funny to say these type of things, but last 2 years, Darvin Ham didn't do that. He believed in playing through. Like he said that. Those are his words. Playing through those situations is what he did as a coach. No, sometimes you got to call a timeout, talk about what's happening, and address the problem. You can't just ignore it and expect guys out there on the court to fix it. And timeouts aren't, it's not like, oh, we're just taking a rest. No, he has the clipboard. He's making plays. He's talking to guys individually. Hey, if the other team's shooting free throws or we're shooting free throws, JJ's pulling guys aside like, hey, I need you here. I need you to show more effort on the offensive glass. Rui Hachimura, he does that. Like, it's just little things like that. Also, I wanted to mention too, like, I think what he's been doing with Austin Reeves is incredible. Like, we talked about that a lot during that stream. He was everywhere. And shout out to Caden as well, Playoff Sports Network. He brought it up to my attention. Like, Reeves was hustling every single play, every play, offense, defense. He didn't have the biggest stat sheet game, but he almost had a double-double at that. I think he had 9 rebounds. Like, he's everywhere. And we love to see that type of effort from Reeves. Like, he's just more of a utility guy than he's ever been, in my opinion. That's just game 1. He shot enough to get a 20-plus point game. Did the shots fall from 3? No, but nobody's shots really fell from 3. So looking back at the stats, I think we have the same type of game. If we have the same type of game, same system, and guys are knocking down their shots, it's going to be hard to beat us. Because for the first time in a while, our game is started on defense. We defended one of the best teams in the NBA. That's a fact. Most of the shots they were making, shout out to 2K, they were heavily contested, tight shots for the most part. That was the shots that were going in for the Timberwolves. Yes, they had a couple of open shots, but that was more so on fast break turnovers and stuff like that. We couldn't really get back into our set offense. Yeah, smothered. No chance of going 100% smothered. And they were hitting it. And credit to them. Like, we seen Julius Randle at one point. He took one crazy contact layup on LeBron. We're thinking, oh, it's going to rim out. Goes in. Like, it happens. And I think that's just credit to JJ Redick and his system. So I'm excited. I know I could have gone B as well, but I just think when the stakes are that high and he perform opening night versus the Timberwolves, get the W, it's not something we're used to. And we haven't won opening night in last what? How many seasons has it been? Like 4 or 5, maybe
8.
more. I don't know. 8?
Yeah, 2016.
Whew. 8 years, and he got it. That's saying my book. So that's what I got about JJ Redick. He's a dog. I'm in his corner for the whole year for that. So lock in, coach. I'm with.
Yeah, I already said enough on my rant. I really like those points by Earl. I don't have much else to say about JJ for now, except we'll see. But he's awesome. I love it. I love it. The energy and the vibes around this team is the best I've seen since 2020. Not close. Even the 2021 team that was pretty solid, but had injuries. Like, they didn't really have good vibes. We didn't see anything from them. It was also during peak COVID, so it was really hard. They were getting tested every day. Anyway, 2020 vibes this year, which I think is amazing. And dare I say, I don't know if we're going to talk about this, but I wouldn't make a crazy move on this team. I would just add a backup center because Jackson Hayes cannot do it, especially in the playoffs. Like, even if Jackson Hayes can have a solid game against the Wizards in the regular season, you do have to factor in the playoffs and Anthony Davis's workload there. So that's the move I would make. But if they're going to wait until the deadline, then wait until the deadline. I just think we'll be even better now if you just get a backup center.
Yeah. If you're new, of course, or Sarah joining us, feel free to drop any questions, hot takes, or any opinions down in the chat, where you'd be at least Twitter or Bounce Playback. For on Twitter, Kobe Wan Kenobi, shout out to him on Twitter, says, "We get him Ben Simmons?" ? And I don't know about Ben Simmons. Hey, if they waive him, if the Nets waive him, I don't know. I would be interested, but like I said, I don't know.
You said that because of me, Alan. I posted something about Ben Simmons recently.
For sure. But yeah, like I said, drop any questions, any hot takes, and I said we'll get to them during the podcasts. As always, at least for you guys, any or more topics when it comes to this game versus Minnesota. Anything at least recognize? I know Jake mentioned about at least a potential trade, maybe Walker Kessler replacing Jackson Hayes.
Look, I'll answer that Ben Simmons thing first. Look, this is what I'll say about Ben Simmons. I just think he's on a horrible team. Like, obviously, I'm a part-time Hawks fan. I live like kind of close to Atlanta, so I watch the games with my dad, and it gives you perspective to watch how he plays. Ben Simmons is not a bad player. I think he's just in a terrible system. Now, it depends on how you want to use Ben Simmons. Obviously, he's never going to be a shooter. That's not what he's going to be. But there could be a situation where you could run Ben. I think if he were to go defensive lineup, he could potentially be an upgrade. Yes, don't attack me, guys, from Jared Vanderbilt. The reason why I say that is Ben Simmons is one, he can be an aggressive scorer if he attacks the glass. I think one thing we talked about it too is we don't have enough people cutting. Like Ben Simmons, if you use Ben Simmons just straight up as a cutter in a LeBron James lineup, he can get 10 plus points a game just off of backdoor cuts easily. Also, when you have Bron sitting, you need another person to be that type of playmaker role. What other better person than that than the dude who's not going to shoot the ball? He's going to set up guys, make sure they get in the right spots, and he's going to play defense. We talk about we want to be a defensive team. I think Ben Simmons can definitely bring that. Now, obviously, we know elephant in the room. He's not going to shoot shots. I don't know what it is. He shows these clips of him working out in the summer, him hitting threes, mid range, all these different things. Yes, I get it. But in a world, if he was to get released or whatever, I just don't think you can trade for Ben Simmons. I don't know what that looks like, obviously. But if there was a world where he became available by the bare minimum standards, I would do it. Okay, yeah, Russ, that's a different situation. But at least I know Ben. Well, I can't say that. I was gonna say he probably won't miss a layup, but I seen him miss layups too. But we ball. I think it could open a conversation, maybe. Would it be my first choice? No. But depending on how you go about getting him, I like him as a plus defender for this team, especially. I don't know what Vano's timetable is. We still probably don't have a clear answer on that. It would be a good defensive piece to have on the.
Yeah, I mean, your reasoning was great, and I do think Ben Simmons would fit amazing as a player on this team. I don't care about the lack of shooting, especially if our other guys shoot like they should with JJ's new system. However, even though I posted what I just said in the chat, I said he's the missing piece. I was I was kind of serious, but I will not talk about Ben Simmons on this podcast as a Laker until he like got waived because of the contract. You're not giving up 3 rotation players for Ben Simmons. It's always that 3 for 1 when you're at that level. Same with Zach LaVine. Like, if sure, LaVine on the Lakers would be great, and maybe you're okay with the contract, maybe, but you would still have to give up 3 rotational players, probably D'Lo, Rui. Maybe they give you a first or something, but D'Lo, Rui, and Vincent or something. It's like, no, you can't just give up 3 guys who we need for 1 guy. That is not going to work. So actually, you know what? You guys have seen what happens when we give up 3 guys for 1 guy: KCP, Montrezl Harrell, Kyle Kuzma. And what happened? And it's not just that Westbrook was a bad fit. It was the fact that we are now missing 2 or 3 guys who could have really helped us. Probably not Harrell, but the other 2. So I won't talk about Simmons yet, but I definitely would talk about Walker Kessler. The only problem is their GM over there, I think, is known for being the stingiest or kind of like asking for the most in the league. And if you think about it, the Jazz are at the bottom of the bottom in terms of the West. They're not even that bad, but the West is so great. They're at the bottom. And they didn't trade any of their core this offseason for any picks or anything like that. So that kind of tells me that it's probably a lot easier said than done saying, let's go get Walker Kessler. But if we could, I still think he's ideal for us. And I would probably say he's an ideal center for most teams.
Yeah, I think he made some great points there. It's really like Ben Simmons, if that contract was right, I feel like that would be the perfect fit. And I said this like a year or so ago, but I agree with Jake there. Like, you just can't justify trading away that many players for Ben Simmons. Like, it just doesn't make sense. Like, the contract is just yeah. Now the Zach LaVine situation, I was gonna bring that up next. Zach LaVine, I'm just saying, the 3 shot is there. I seen it before, but this year, his shot just looks like a little bit faster. Like, every time he shot that thing, I watched a little bit of that ball. Of that game just to see Lonzo. Shot Lonzo. He came back. Sorry, my glasses are messed up. But yeah, he looked good. And the problem with that Bulls team is they stopped passing the ball. The ball just stopped going his way. It wasn't like Zach LaVine just slowing down and taking a drastic like shutdown in the second half. No, if he was in that JJ Redick system and he's hitting those shots, Bron will find you. He will have you keep shooting that thing until you finally miss out. But the other problem I agree with Jake is, in no way can we give up Rui now. I feel like I don't think you can give up Rui, D'Lo, and Gabe for Zach LaVine. Like, I just can't do that. Rui right now, what I've seen, I know it's been 1 game, but I think he's going to be very, very valuable for this system to even work. We need a guy in that lineup who is a great scoring option that you can put next to AD LeBron James, who you can't just leave open. Rui is a guy who's a 3-level scorer, and now on top of that, you're adding he's playing better defense. He's crashing the glass. Like, you can't give that up. We need that. We don't have another guy on this roster who plays like Rui. As much people like, oh, put him in a package. No, we can't. We can't do that. We can't trade Rui. So I think that's the biggest thing. Rui, I feel like is on a great contract for us. Austin Reeves on a great contract for us. Those are 2 guys I just can't see us trading. We can't. I think they're too valuable to this team. Now, Walker Kessler thing you brought up, I think that would be amazing. That's literally my perfect dream situation. If you if there's any situation where you would bring Rui off the bench, I think our team will be perfect. As perfect as you can get, you bring Rui off the bench, you have Walker Kessler start next to Anthony Davis. I mean, dog, he had 5 blocks. 5 blocks. It's not even, I don't care about his scoring. He Yeah, 5 blocks, like 15 rebounds. True center. And those 10 points, whatever, bro. If you're playing with Bron and AD, we can get you 12 points easy.
You got
And you put
16.
that next AD. Oh, yeah, 16?
16 and
Oh,
14 rebounds.
I thought he had 10. My fault. I must have cut off the game. But yeah,
Oh, you're
my
good.
fault, Jazz.
Just letting you know.
But yeah, 16 and 15 with 5 blocks. Book it, bro. I don't know what they're asking for. Obviously, like Jake said, GM over there, he's kind of bugging. Call him grumpy grandpa over there. No offense. Hey, if we can make it happen, I know there's a lot of people looking for that type of trade, a lot of organizations, but I'll do it in a heartbeat. Even if it costs me D'Lo. I'm sorry. I already talked about D'Lo before. If it's the right deal, I think we can work around trading away him like that. I know people aren't a fan of Austin Reeves at the point, but I think he's really comfortable with the ball in his hands at times. So I'll do it. If it costs me Walker Kessler, I'm doing it in a heartbeat, bro. Because I see now AD's willing to take those threes and he can make them. 3-level score.
You want a really hot take? A really hot Lakers take that I feel like a lot of people have kind of talked about this. The more I think about it, especially if you can get Kessler like under team control for years, I think I would give up 2 first-round picks for Kessler, which is insane. But if that's what, like, that should get it done, right? Especially because, like, that's a lot. No one else is giving you 2. And I think Rob would get a lot of hate from very casual fans. I think the casual fans would be like, who is that? Why do you give up 2 first? And it's just funny to me that, like, those fans know, they think they know the value of 2 first, but they don't know who Walker Kessler is. That feels weird to me. I mean, was he not a first-round pick? I think he was, and he's a lot better than people thought he would be. But if you have him under control and that's your center going forward to pair with AD, I'm giving up 2, especially if you can somehow – I don't think Kessler's contract's bad at all. I think there's a way to add in like a Sexton or Clarkson, let's say one of those 2, that I'm giving 2 firsts. We now have a 6-man in either Kessler or Clarkson who's going to ball out. You still have Connect. You obviously keep Connect. You probably lose D'Lo. And I think we would probably win the championship. So I don't know if 2 firsts is – sorry, allergies are crazy. If 2 firsts is worth giving up to win a championship, but to me it is. We gave up like 4 for AD and we won 1 championship. So Kessler obviously nowhere near the player of AD, but if he's half the player AD is on a nightly basis, he's worth 2 first-round picks. Honestly, I'm making that move, especially like because imagine Rob's talking to Danny and he's like, "No, we won't give you 1 first for Walker." What are you doing? Just give then at that point, just give 1 first in like 2 seconds and D'Lo or whatever you got to do. JHS, I don't care. But like, what are you doing? Like, just make it happen. I just think Danny is so stingy that I cannot sit here and just blame Rob Pelinka when we don't know how Ainge is treating like the Kessler situation. And it seems like they were very stingy with Lauri Markkanen as well this summer. So, yeah, I mean, there's some trades that could be made. If that one is like very, very hard to pull off or requires a lot, like, why don't you just go then talk to the Hornets about Nick Richards, especially because they have Mark Williams? I've been saying that for a while. It feels like last deadline I was even saying that. But Nick Richards would be a really good fit. The thing is he's just so much worse than Kessler. He would basically just be the backup center versus Kessler would be able to start whenever you want. So I would still – Kessler's maybe my number 1 trade target, especially with that contract. But – again, every NBA team could say that they want a Walker Kessler on that contract, so it's much easier said than done.
Overall, I think what we're saying is we got to find a replacement for Jackson Hayes. He did decent. He got 10 points. Was it like 6 rebounds? But eventually, I don't think that's going to be enough. You need a solid center to play next to AD or please play consistently behind AD. So just this at least a center option will be something that the Lakers will be looking at, hopefully, and Rob Pelinka make some changes moving forward. His next time to talk about is Anthony Davis. That's one of our highlights of our title. Is he the number one scoring option? I know we always debate about it. There was an article that came out a couple of weeks ago how Anthony Davis was the number two scoring option in the NBA among all the teams. And I just kind of disagree with that because it is a narrative that LeBron James is number one. But I feel like now, especially after that last game, Anthony Davis should be the number one option for the Lakers moving forward.
Yes, 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 yes. He is the number one option. Moving forward, AD is the number one option on this Lakers team. And the thing about it is, we talked about this a lot. He could have easily last game. He could have easily had 40 points, 40 plus. My biggest problem with AD is I feel like he was a little bit excited. Like at first, I was like he was rushing. I think it was excitement. He hears the talks about Rudy Gobert and how he's a better defender. He sees that he's the reason he hasn't been in these conversations for the last couple seasons. And I think in his mind, he just wanted to attack him every time. But what AD has to realize is his bag is deeper than that. Once he start hitting those pull ups, those post fades, a little bit of hook shot here and there. That's what makes AD so unguardable. And I think if he started with that attack basis, that attack mindset from the jump of the game, he could have easily outscored like even more, like 40 plus points game one. But Anthony Davis, he is the number one guy. He should have been last year. He should have been the year before that. But I think right now, mentally, it's clicking for him. AD can get whatever shot he wants. And I think early on in the season, he's on like a challenge tour. He's going to be challenged by different situations as far as his career that he hasn't had success on. I think the biggest one I can bring up that's really going to tell me if AD wants to be that guy is the Kings after the Suns game. That's going to tell me, okay, is Anthony Davis actually locked in the season? And does he want to be the main guy? Because we all know historically, so I don't know what it is. Sabonis owns, according to Twitter, Sabonis owns Anthony Davis. That's just how it been. I think he's only beat him one time in his entire career. Is absolutely insane. AD, I'm sorry. Me personally, as a competitor, I know that stat in my head, and I'm not losing any more matchups versus that personally. So I think AD, he should have been number one scorer going into the season, and he played like it. So I know LeBron James didn't have the most efficient offensive night. I get that, but I think there's a world where it should be like this. That not saying I want LeBron to play bad, but there is a world where we should be winning games like this, even when LeBron James isn't dropping 28 plus points a game. I think this is how it should be. AD leading the lead on offense and defense, and kind of letting LeBron take that slight step back and just play through the full of the game as he has been so far.
Yeah, it's time for LeBron to take a step back so that he could take a step up in the playoffs versus him grinding so hard to get us to the playoffs and running out of steam, or he has a foot injury or whatever it is in the playoffs. It's just kind of gotten ridiculous. Like Darvin Ham would say before the games, like before the season at least, oh, we're going to play LeBron less this time around to make sure that he gets enough rest. And he never did. And he kind of didn't have a choice because unless he wanted to lose the game, he would have to play LeBron 36 to 40 minutes most games. It is what it is. But I just think we're a little off the base when we talk about is AD the number one scoring option. AD's been the number one scoring option since 2019. The reason that you guys asked this, the reason that Lakers fans asked this is because of the injuries, because of the inconsistencies, because of Bron still being at such an elite level. Go back and watch the bubble from 2020. Technically, AD is the number one scoring option. That was his first season with the Lakers. Go back and watch his first preseason game on the Lakers in 2019. I remember where I was. I was a freshman in college. He was the number one scoring option from the jump. LeBron threw him a lob towards the start of the game. It's always been AD number one scoring option. The problem is like you got to play like it. You got to have that mentality. And I think that's where we've seen him change the most in the last, kind of 2 years, like last season and then start of this season. His mentality is there. And he took the torch from LeBron. He's not just the number one scoring option. He's the best all-around player on the team. And honestly, LeBron up until last season, was the best all-around player on the team ahead of AD. But now it's different. AD is here. I agree with what was said in the chat with like we could need another closer. That does sound good. D'Lo is hypothetically a closer. He can't really close, but he should be a closer. Austin Reeves probably could be a closer as well, if you want to count that. But yeah, they're not at that level of like, I would say you bring in like a Zach LaVine and he hits 2 or 3 clutch threes. That would definitely be nice. But contract wise, I don't know how you're going to find a closer who is on a minimum deal or any sort of reasonable contract. Every closer in the NBA is on a large contract, including like DeRozan, which is kind of a mid-sized contract. So you can't really find another closer, but what you can do is tell AD, we want you to be more of a closer. However, like you said, AD does need help through the season, and that's why you get another center to pair with him to take the burden off of the rebounding, the blocking shots, the defense side, so that AD can focus more on closing a game when we need him to. And that's how you have a closer next to LeBron James. The other thing I just wanted to say was at some point after we go through your topics, Alan, I don't know if this was on the agenda. I would love to talk about the Lakers' 2 new courts in New Jersey. Maybe you guys talked about that on another show. I'm sorry, but if we could do that, I would love to do that topic too.
Yeah, we're very much talking about that next. At least for me, like I said, talk about Anthony Davis is clearly the number one option. Like I said, it was a narrative within us Laker fans that he needed to be, but at least after that last game, we feel that he's the number one option. Like I said, like having a big man who can give you almost 30 plus points a night and nearly 15 to maybe 20 rebounds and probably give you 2+ blocks a game is just insane. And Anthony Davis is truly and arguably the best big man currently in the NBA. Like I said, shout out to Victor, shout out to Nikola Jokic, but I feel like Anthony Davis is on a different level. And of course, if you're listening out there, if you disagree with us or Anthony Davis is not the best guy, Jokic, Victor, but have an argument, feel free to type it below in chat. But it's not a debate, honestly. Anthony Davis is the best big man in the NBA when he's a super aggressive like we saw and just passionate about the game. And just like I said, more or less at 80, if he continues this run, he's going to be an MVP candidate. I said there's the base, maybe Shea, Luke could have a career. Jason Tatum had a great first game versus the New York Knicks. But like Anthony Davis is MVP caliber if he continues this role. So yeah, just 80 is something I'm super excited for. And how JJ is very much utilizing him, the sky is the limit at this point.
Bro, I'm telling y'all. I know. Shout out to the non-Lakers fans and the basketball casuals out there who tried to argue with me over the summer about Anthony Davis and my Lakers delusion. No, Anthony Davis legitimately he will show this year why he is a top 5 NBA talent. I'm telling you, Anthony Davis is so talented, and he does it on both ends consistently. So I think if he starts with this aggression every night, obviously it's hard to say this for some people because it's game 1, but I looked at this game as Anthony Davis not even being efficient in my standards, and he had 36 points. Like it's a lot of shots. I'm like, okay, you don't have to take that shot. A lot of forced shots, I'll say, in the first half of that game. But when it came down to it, he closed us out of that game. Almost every possession in that fourth quarter, when the Timberwolves were trying to come back, crawl the way back, Anthony Davis smacked those hands down and closed out the game on both ends. The defensive player of the year, Rudy Gobert, got dogged. There was plays post turnaround, going up on him, putting his arm into his chest, finishing. He sent that man's shot to the grounds. To the ground. He smacked it down, volleyball style, on the floor. His handprint was on the ball. I seen it. That might be a lie, but that's what I seen in my eyes. So Anthony Davis, he is going to be that guy this season, and I'm excited for these matches. I'm glad they gave us this. I know some people were complaining about the schedule. I'm happy about this schedule. I think the only way to wake up this team and, hey, we want to win the championship, we need to start with a hard NBA starting path. That's the only way these guys are going to lock in and be aggressive. That's the type of way this team reacts to pressure. So I'm excited. Like I said, my game, I know we're not talking about game of the week, whatever. But the biggest game I'm looking forward to is the Kings. I know on paper we do not match up against them well, really, at all the last couple of years, I feel like. But I think with aggressive Anthony Davis, LeBron James locked in, contributions from hopefully this. If you don't show up any game in the next 5 games, D'Lo, we need you versus the Kings. I'll say that, and Austin Reeves. So I'm confident in that game. It's gonna be a fun first 5 games of the season. I'm locked in. But AD, I agree. He's up there, best bigs in the league, and I think he's gonna prove why. And same people who are torturing him about health and injuries and stuff like that. Well, he's been playing. What is your favorite superstar doing on your team? Respectfully.
Shout out Embiid, shout out Paul George, shout out Kawhi Leonard. That AD conversation makes me want to talk about something else that we don't have on the docket. Okay. It kind of reminded me real fast. So let me do a little rant because I'm back. I'm obviously a passionate Lakers fan. I'm a lifelong LA. I don't know why I said lifelong. I'm from LA. I live in LA. I'm an LA native, right? So the media has this fucking crazy, excuse my language, this whole segment, crazy bias against the Los Angeles Lakers. And I'm so fucking sick of it. From 1980s, when we're winning with Magic and Kareem, they loved us. We were the cool up-and-coming team. We were challenging the Celtics. To be honest, like, frankly, a lot of times the Lakers made history off the court. We did things for social justice and we took those racial inequities at the time and had guys like Kareem step up and be a leader in the world. Like I do feel like we were loved properly. I mean, I wasn't there in the 80s, but like looking back, my point is we were respected. We go to the 90s. We had some good years, some bad years. Kobe and Shaq, obviously, I feel like we're loved. Kobe got a lot of hate in the other NBA community. Mostly because he would torch their teams though, and how competitive he was. And then we get to like the LeBron Lakers, and there's this crazy hate in by the media about LeBron, which I understand. But that adding on to the Lakers hate, like honestly, fuck the media who talks about the Lakers, because you guys don't see it clearly at this point. You're so jealous of the success from the 80s and the 90s. That's why I bring up those eras. The early 2010, LeBron wins a ring in 2020. You're so freaking jealous of us that you guys can't actually see basketball anymore. And like, shout out to one of my favorite YouTubers. I talked about this the other day, Kenny Beecham, one of the least biased basketball minds who I've watched on YouTube. Also one of the smartest, I think, in the media. And guess what? Even Kenny cannot see the Lakers clearly because everyone else in the country has grown up disliking the Lakers or being mad at LeBron for eliminating their teams in the East or whatever. And you guys can't even see clearly that this team under a new system was actually going to be a good team. And it's just so stupid because every season we get underestimated, and every season besides with Russell Westbrook, we overperform. So basically 1.5 years with Russell Westbrook where we were horrible, we overperform every time. And then people have the nerve to go on Celtics or Sixers podcast or just general NBA media and be like, yeah, I don't have the Lakers making the playoffs. Colin Cowherd, fuck you for that, honestly. You said one of your hot takes was the Lakers not making the playoffs. First of all, how is that a hot take if all the media hates us and says we're a play-in team? How is that a hot take? I don't understand. That's admitting that deep down you think the Lakers are good. So the Lakers are going to make the playoffs. I don't know if they're going to be in the play-in. It's possible, but they're going to be in the playoffs. And all of you guys, I'm going to say fuck you to you guys again. And then when they're better in 2025, I'm going to say fuck you to the media again. I'm sorry for the language, but like you guys see it with Lakers colored glasses in a bad way. You just expect the Lakers to be a mess every time. You think everything is a mess with the Lakers because we're in the media so much. You see Darvin Ham give a horrible coach or have a horrible or have a horrible coaching performance, and you think our whole franchise is screwed? Like, there's more here than meets the eye, and us actual Lakers fans can look at our roster and be like, this is a solid basketball team, and we still have Bron and AD. And everyone else in my comments will say, the Lakers suck. Who cares? And it's like MJ fan 2058. Like, bruh, you weren't alive for MJ. You didn't watch MJ, and shut up, because the Lakers are about a lot more than the LeBron MJ rivalry. We never talk about that. Real Lakers fans never talk about that. LeBron fans, yeah, but Laker fans, no. So honestly, like, just kind of a big fuck you to the media who doesn't understand this team and can never look at this team unbiased, because you would have seen that it was a playoff team. You saw game one. People were on TikTok, on Twitter, on Instagram, switching up after one win. They said, oh, the Lakers actually look pretty good, and they shot the three horribly. Like, yeah, but like, we already knew, because our roster has now been together for 2.5 years, or this season will be 2.5 years, and they're always competitive. And it's like, why does the media look at the Lakers with such disdain? And honestly, the answer 90% of the time is jealousy. And they do the same thing with the Dodgers when the Dodgers are good. And I'm just so sick of that whole side of the media. Like, go root for the Cavs, go root for the Guardians if you want, especially if that's your hometown. That's awesome. But you don't have to put down the Lakers as this like clown organization when we continually have success. And honestly, the Lakers might be the most successful team since 2000. Like, them and the Warriors dynasty, the Spurs, like, the Lakers are up there, and you guys are acting like we're like the 15th seed every year just because you don't like LeBron or AD, or just because you're jealous. And I'm just so sick of that shit. So like, stop doing that and give us the same unbiased treatment that you would give every other team, like the Chicago Bulls and the Trailblazers. Like, I don't want to hear how you're excited about the Spurs, but you can't look at the Lakers without bias. Like, we're literally a better team by far. So stop doing that. I'm not saying we're a championship team right now, but like, give us some respect for once. I mean, we continually overperform. I mean, it's just kind of ridiculous at this point.
Shout out Jake with the mic drop right there. Shout out to Big Nick Energy. Asks, what are your guys' thoughts on Bronny? And I'll keep mine simple short. He's still a rookie, young player who can develop. Of course, there'll be negatives and such as narratives that'll come about this small performance, you could say, that he did versus Minnesota. But like I said, he's still a young kid, and just has to develop with the given minutes and given opportunity. So I ultimately wish the best of Bronny James.
Yeah, he's the 55th pick in the NBA draft, and he needs time to grow and develop. I think that's the biggest thing. I think G League is going to be great for him. I think Jake mentioned it as well earlier that he just has to grow. Like, you grow, you naturally gain experience in life just by getting older. So Bronny is really young. He's gonna live by experiences. He's gonna have good nights. He's gonna have horrible nights, and I think that's gonna grow him into the player that we will love him to be in the future. So Bronny has always been a future plan, not a win right now plan. So I'm cool with it.
Yeah, and we're all Lakers fans first. We're not Bronny James fan first. We're not LeBron fans first. It kind of goes with what I was just saying. Bronny is a great kid, and he works super hard. He deserves to be in the G League at the minimum. I don't think he's ready for the NBA because I'm not biased. I think he can be an NBA player. Just give him time to develop and grow and learn in the G League. And he's learning from his dad, who's the best player of all time. He's learning from a coach who really respects him and kind of puts him on a pedestal in a good way of, we know what you can be. So he's going to have opportunity to be an NBA player, but that's all my thoughts. I'm not going to, if you're a Lakers fan who's sitting there like, yeah, Bronny is amazing, like, he should be playing now, why are you not playing Bronny? Which are very few, but if you're like that, you're being biased.
I'll say as well, like, arguably the Lakers have one of the best scouting / development staffs in the NBA. Like you see, there's tons of players who were on the Lakers have gone on to be great in other teams. Shout out to Sky Pippen Jr., who's out in Memphis. I was a big fan of him. Of course, he had the name of being Sky Pippen's son, but he's arguably an NBA player. And shout out to him, he got a multi-year contract with Memphis. Mo Wagner, who of course was drafted in the first round, wasn't a huge fan of him, but he still has a role in the NBA with I believe Orlando. So it's like, of course, you got Jordan Clarkson, Julius Randle, who of course we played last night. So it's just like there's many players who were former Lakers and could still develop. Like I said, this Lakers organization is a good developing organization, and we just have to give them the right opportunities. Sometimes they do pan out, sometimes they don't pan out, but it's ultimately up to the players to live up to their hype / expectations when given the opportunity, and that's on Bronny. Like I said, although he has his dad, but as Bron said, it's all about his son. He has to make the right decisions. It's up to him to create his own path, create his own history, create his own narrative moving forward. And yeah, we'll take it to Jake. I know you said you want to talk about these playing courts. I believe they announced it this early morning.
Yeah, I mean, number one, while we're on the stadium, the topic of stadiums and courts, the Clippers opened their new arena. It looks like the most high-tech and kind of cool new stadium in the NBA. Shout out to them. I hate the Clippers, but I'm still giving them a shout out for that stadium. I also think Steve Ballmer is a genuinely good owner. I just think they need to put the right team there. And at times that's not really his job as the owner because he's willing to spend money. So shout out Ballmer and the Clippers. I had posted earlier like that Clippers wall, which looked cool. I said, should I invade it and pretend like I'm a Clippers fan, wear a Clippers shirt, and then like uncover a Lakers jersey and flip everyone off? And Earl said, I'm praying for your safety, which I just saw. I don't feel threatened by Clippers fans personally, just with my experience in LA. So I think I am going to go do that. I'll get someone to record and I'll like put that out for content and see, Sam on the Quest for 18 pod, which could be cool for us getting some new people in here. So yeah, I do think I'm going to go do that. And then on what you just said, I said last year, a lot of people didn't understand this, but as someone who's watched the Lakers since the early 2000s, I've never seen us play on an alternate court. The in-season tournament, every team had an alternate court. It was the first time, I was right, it was the first time the Lakers have ever had a different court. But actually this year, now with the city jersey, is the first time we've ever had a true alternate court away from that tournament where everyone does. A lot of teams have had alternate courts for city jerseys. Like I really like the Knicks. I know the Grizzlies have done stuff. The Spurs have done stuff in a different fashion. A bunch of teams. But the Lakers' new court for their city jerseys, which are like the purple with kind of black fading into purple at the top. The court is awesome. I'm excited to see that. I like the jersey too. It's not, I don't love like gradient stuff like that where it fades, but I think it'll be fun. And then the Lakers in-season tournament court for the second year came out this morning, and seems like all the in-season tournament courts have gotten a lot better and more clean. I don't like the colors last year so much. They were all really bright. The Lakers still have a bright court that looks mostly yellow, but it does have the LA skyline, as well as some cool other features. So I think that they killed it with the in-season courts for most teams. NBA Cup it's called now. For most teams, I'm pretty excited to see that court as well. So shout out to the Lakers who now have two different courts. Here's the court, of course. Thank you for showing that. To me, it looks really clean this year. I love the purple and gold, obviously, are colors. I don't love the crypto.com arena part, but you need that. So you don't really have an option because the Staples Center one was awesome with the red. So yeah, the Lakers will have some really cool games. I see my account on the right there. Shout out SMJ, one of the most interesting, weird accounts on Twitter. Very strange Laker fan over there. But yeah, I would love to hear your guys' thoughts on the courts and the new jerseys, both of them.
I like the court a lot. I think you made a good point. Last year was really bright for every court. I mean, I was turning on the TV. Might as well throw on some sunglasses like what we did in the playoffs. Sadly, how we got eliminated. But yeah, I like this a lot. I think the contrast and obviously the skyline in the background as well. It just blends really good. I like it a lot. And then of course we have our stars on the side. Yeah, I like it. I think the crypto.com, it is a little bit but you have to have your sponsor on there. That's how it pays the bills and everything is pretty much paid for in situations like this. So yeah, I like it. I think Lakers did a good job this year. As far as like I know these are like a new requirement as far as like the in season stuff, but it seems like now that people have experience with it, second year everything's coming out a lot more clean overall.
And I also do think before you go, Alan, that the stars, I'm 90% sure that there's 17 stars representing the 17 championships, which is very cool because there's only 2 teams who could even do that.
Yes, indeed. For me, like this is very much a great court. I think that I don't know if you guys know, but like, if they are playing in a neutral site back in Las Vegas, that'd be okay. But I feel like this would be a perfect court that the Lakers were to be in the finals and win back to back. That'd be a perfect scenario. But like I said, it's on this team to compete well versus their given opponents. I believe it was like OKC, San Antonio, Utah, and then some other teams. So super excited to see the Lakers play in and on this court.
It really would look crazy like in 2020. Imagine if we had these type of courts when we had those crazy sick mama jerseys. Like, just a snakeskin type court. I know it'll probably be really dark, but I'm sure they can figure out the color things out, but that would look really nice too, like, thinking back, but I think it's a good concept with the
Well,
new designs. They look really good.
my only thing, Earl, well, you kind of just said it, but if it was a all black court, black jerseys, that would be kind of tough. Um, but yeah, I don't know how they would go about that, but you're right. They should have had a city edition court when we had those jerseys. Maybe they will in the future if we bring them back.
Of course, before we go to our tier maker for the Lakers updated list, is there any more topics that you want to please talk about before we go to that?
I just also want to say real quick that Dalton Connect had an instant impact in very limited minutes. He only had 2 baskets. I think he probably took like 3 or 4 shots. I forgot, but he had very limited minutes. There also, you had to account for the Bronny thing for a few minutes. Also, it was just game number 1, and Connect is still a rookie. Connect, in my opinion, should be playing 20 minutes off the bench. I would say that for me, I trust Connect to go get a bucket more than Christie or Vincent ever could, and obviously more than Jackson Hayes. And on this like subject of replacing Hayes, as we talked about, I think it was fair that Allen mentioned like he had 10 points, like 6 rebounds or whatever it was, but he had some of the fakest stats ever because his actual contribution on the court didn't feel like a ton for me. So not to be negative, but please, on the original point, play Dalton Connect more, especially because he's just ready to go score the ball for you right now.
Yeah, I think for me, last thing I'll say before we transition over is I agree. I think Dalton Knet does need to hit that 20-minute mark. He looked natural. I mean, he played well with Austin Reeves. Like that one almost assist play where Austin Reeves kicked it back to him on the 3-point line and kind of went in and out. That's just on a if the wind blows a little bit to the left, it goes in type of situation. So yeah, I think he definitely should play a little bit more minutes in those situations. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this tier list because we do have some adjustments to make. I'm excited. I do have a new person maybe elevating up the tiers which we'll talk about. So let's hop into it. I think he's getting it set up. But while we wait, I will say all those Lakers fans who are a little bit, iffy about it, or all the media who wants to switch up on us now, we'll give you one more game. Before this next game starts, you can jump on the train and the wagon and have a good ride with us Lakers fans. Enjoy the vibe, or you can stay on the other side and hate us for the whole year. We won't care regardless. So it's up to you. But I don't want to see all the switching up on social media when I'll say it. I've been known to be a little bit optimistic on this chat. I've already said it before that we even played the game. When we make that championship run this year, stay on that side. I'll give you max 2 games. 2 more games. You can choose to join us or not. You can hate all you want. But all I'm saying is, Lakers, we're gonna ball out this year. I'm excited. I've seen kind of what I need to see. We won on a we shot 16% from 3 and we beat the Timberwolves. I'm chilling.
Yeah, also like the Pelicans injury, DeJounte Murray injury for the Pelicans is definitely big for seeding. I feel bad for them. Like, obviously that sucks. The Grizzlies are going to be a problem for us if we want to be from 4 to 6, in my opinion. The Warriors are not a problem at all. The Clippers are not a problem at all. The Rockets are not a problem in that range. Suns, maybe. I'm not sure. I love Tyus Jones for them. But yeah, I think if the Lakers could get in that 4 to 6 range, we might be chilling, especially if like the Wolves or the 3 seed or the Thunder, the 3 seed, and it's 3 versus 6. Or if it was like Suns, Lakers first round, I think we may be chilling for the first round. I mean, obviously we have to be healthy, but that's the range I would shoot for, like 4 to 6, and avoid the play-in. I think this team can do it. That's kind of why I say it now.
Apologies for the mess up. There's a ton of these ads that I had to take out for this tier maker, but yeah. Like I said, this is our tier maker. S, A, B, C, and D. Of course, there's a bottom side for injured / not applicable for his point. And yeah, at least for a host, pick a name and we'll give them a rating.
This is my first one too, so I'm pretty excited to be here. You could go first, Earl.
You know what? Let's just get D'Angelo Russell. Let's just start there. If I'm not mistaken, he was B last week, right? I'm pretty sure. I'm 90% sure he's on B last week. I'm just gonna look at the box score. Nothing critical. I mean, he had 9 points, 5 assists, 1 rebound, 1 for 7 from 3. Look, I said it before. I have no hate towards D'Lo. I think he is a valuable player at times. I just think his low is really low, and sometimes that distracts you from what he's really good at, which is, believe it or not, he is a 40+ point 3-point percentage. Oh, he was a C last week? Oh. Okay, bottom of C. I'm not going to move him. I think he took open shots for the most part. They didn't fall. I don't expect him to do it again, but if he does do it again, next week I will have to drop him to the D tier. But I don't think he gets worse than this, so I'm going to keep him where he's at C. He just has to play through it. That's the best I can say. So that's my first vote.
This is kind of a boring one, but could we just put Quincy Oliveri in the NA? Because being a two-way guy, it's like we don't even know when he's going to play in NBA games yet. I love him, but I think Quincy in NA is the only option, so I'll get that one out of the way.
Yeah, I think D'Lo at a C is fine. And he's very much didn't showcase too much, but D'Lo's done fine enough. But like I said, he gotta be B or A moving forward into this season. Who got next?
Ball's in your court.
Oh, me or Allen? I feel like Allen should go.
Oh, I forgot. You did say that. My fault. I forgot you picked.
I think let's go with Dalton Connect. For me, I'm feeling around a B. He only scored 5 points, but from the preseason to now, he's done very much great, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Cool with that.
I
got
agree.
nothing. Yeah. I have no arguments with that. I think B is perfect. I mean, he did his part in the minutes he was given, and we'll live with that. Next person I'll go with, I think Cam Reddish. I mean, I'll just get him out the way. I don't even think he played, right? If I'm not mistaken.
I don't
So,
remember him playing.
what was he last week? I'm trying to look at that picture. Was he even ranked last week? Okay, well, I'll put Cam Reddish at. Might just throw him at NA since he didn't play. To be fair, season opener. I'll just go ahead and rank him at NA for us this week. I think that's fair.
Well, I just didn't want to do too many NAs. I was kind of thinking D, but you're right. Like, it would be unfair to even touch it. But I am going to put Bronny in D because he played. There's just no way he's on the same tier as D-Lo. But at the same time, D doesn't feel like too bad with the way that it's shaping up. So I think that's fine.
Yeah. I agree with you. I'm cool with that.
Go ahead, Alan.
We got Austin Reeves at A. What you guys' thoughts on Austin Reeves at A?
Yeah, I agree.
Yep. Utility guy. Since we went Reeves, let's go ahead and go Rui next. Now, personally, week by week basis, I think that I might make the argument I Rui at S tier. I think he was just everywhere. He was on the glass. He was giving us second chance opportunities. He was actually scoring the ball, creating his own offense. I think he was everywhere. And this week I probably only have 2 at S. So I think Rui, he's up there for me personally.
Well, I think we need to look at it as like total Laker impact too. And I think that's one that we may have to vote on. If Alan thinks, because I'm at A for Rui. So Alan, you could be the tiebreaker.
I'm also at A. I think that he's done great, but he can still improve.
True.
Because Earl, you're kind of right that for one game he would be at S for that game, but the problem is like week by week we're going to be thinking a lot more total impact, which is harder to do right now. So that's why I think A is fair, but he can like move up to S or to B. So yeah, let's do that.
Sure.
Let's do Rui A. I'm sorry, I don't mean to override you because on that one game you're right.
No. You're cool with that. Because my thought process really is like, I feel like he did enough in more than one category to justify it. But I also do agree, like, obviously next person we put in there dominated in pretty much everything. So I kind of understand that.
Also, there was a clear S standout, don't you think? Like if AD, I mean, I don't want to spoil it, but if AD is S, then Rui was like levels below that even for one game.
True. Yeah.
Because like I don't want to spoil it anymore.
No,
you're good.
Now for Rui,
I'll go A there.
Yeah, for Rui, is he above Austin or would you put him behind Austin in terms of A?
Probably above right now. Not overall though. So then that goes against.
Because it's like Austin Reeves, he had 12 points, 4 assists, and 9 rebounds. Rui had 18, 1, and 5. So, I mean, Austin Reeves dominated in 2 more categories than Rui did.
I agree. So, I agree. Below.
Probably behind.
Or behind.
Yeah. I love tier lists.
I guess I didn't. Yeah, I like this. I don't even know if I've ever done this with you guys. I guess I'll go next. I was doing a lot of talking, but I didn't pick any. I'll do Gabe Vincent in C because he's a tier above Bronny, obviously. And I do think he does have some sneaky impact in terms of his hustle and defense. But at the same time, like offensively, basically gives you nothing. And his box score is always pretty bad, but he's not really a box score guy. So, I mean, for me, I would say C. But if you guys want to override that one, I would understand.
I I think C because the next guy I'm gonna pick is going in D, and I think Gabe probably impacted a little bit more low key. We'll see. No pun intended.
Almost a C, and I just come straight behind D'Lo. I just think, of course, minutes and impact, but D'Lo, uh, when they both were on the court, D'Lo did more than Gabe Vincent did in that game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Next person I'll probably choose is Max Christie. This one hurts. It hurts a lot. I think I have to go. I think I have to go D above Bronny. I just think that while he did play with a lot of energy, he did not play like the first man off the bench. Statistically, I feel like you can't end the game with what did he have? Well, he only played 11 minutes, but still, he had 2 points, 2 rebounds, and part of why he played 11 minutes, I feel like, is he wasn't fitting in the flow on the offense or defense. So I think I have to put him D because I believe he should be better than what he put out there opening night, and I want him to show his improvement. So I think D for my vote. One could argue bottom of C, but I think D for me.
My
What do y'all think?
problem is like what Max Kirsty kind of means to the team is higher than Vincent. But on the other
Sure.
hand, like I do have to agree with you because based on this game, also like Christie's one who's going to move around a lot, so it wouldn't
Hmm.
surprise me if he was in D, but he was in A in a couple weeks, or next week we put him at C or B. So I'm gonna have to
Yep.
go ahead of Bronny in D.
Yeah. And it hurts. Like we said, like this is not us being like mean to these players. It's just our honest reaction of what we've seen in the game. That's why we do these every week. So it shows growth.
Yeah.
I'm on the same boat. Let's go with Jackson Hayes. What you guys thoughts on Jackson Hayes?
I
Well, what are
mean,
your thoughts on Jackson Hayes? I'll
yeah,
let you.
you go first. Yeah.
I gotta maybe controversial, but I gotta see. I think he wasn't bad like to put him a D, but I think he did impactful enough to be a C.
I have him ahead of Max Kirsty right now, just because obviously you do need a backup center too. So it's like I don't know if that would be the best D tier or the worst C, but I actually do believe that Vincent, despite having no stats, has a bigger impact on this team than Hayes. But I think I'm gonna stick with what you said, Alan, and I would probably put Hayes at the bottom of C if Earl's cool with that.
Yeah, I'm going bottom of C slightly because I think he's being asked to do more than what he got signed to do, if that makes sense. Like, I
Yeah,
think my thought process was Christian Wood was going to always play ahead of him, and he was going to be like the third. But now
right.
he's elevating in he's in a different type of role. I mean, he gave us 10 points. He looks goofy out there sometimes, but that's just all love. I think he has to be better. He has to be more intentional on the court. Like you have to know where you are on the court. I talked about last. Well, I keep saying last night. I talked about it during the game. Like you have to spoon feed him. When you use him as a spoon feed, pick and roll, throw the lob up, which D'Lo does a good job of doing. Maybe that's why they're both on this tier together. They work well together. Um, yeah, I think he played all right. So I'm cool with bottom. See, that's good with me.
Also,
But
you make a good point that D'Lo and Hayes doesn't look as bad as Hayes with most people. I think just because of D'Lo's like capability as a playmaker in the pick and roll, he can kind of
yep,
guide Hayes to a more correct spot.
yeah, I agree with that. Next stuff, I guess I'll choose next. I mean, there's not a lot of names left on this list, but you know what? I'll take Big Bron. Let's just go ahead and get to the business. I think LeBron James, he did not have his best game, but then again, he's LeBron. He had 16, 4, and 5, played 35 minutes. For me, I'd probably put him B tier. I think he provided energy when we needed a good bucket, and maybe a stop or something like that. LeBron was there to provide it. But for the most part, he definitely could have had probably double double if guys hit their shots too. So I'll account for that. We missed a lot of open threes from Braun passes as well. So I'll put him B right there on that connect tier for sure.
I would not put LeBron. LeBron had a bad game, and he had a B game. Personally, I'm gonna have to make it go to the tiebreaker again, though, because I can't put Bron lower than A because we
That's cool with me.
we need LeBron. But
Yeah.
in terms of his game one, you're right, it would be B. But also think about the difference of Bron and Connect with winning even that game. That's a huge difference.
Yeah, that's the problem though. It's like I think it's like the players on that tier too. It's like you have to elevate it up. So I'm cool with A. A is cool. Really, what I more meant by B is like maybe statistically it's more of a B just because of what Bron
Yeah,
naturally provides for us. We're not
yeah.
used to like a 16-point game and us still winning. So maybe that's where I'm coming from. And like 4 assists, 5 rebounds is kind of low for LeBron, I feel like, on a normal night. But I'm cool with like A as well. That's cool with me. I mean, because his points were impactful. So we'll
But
take it.
Alan, you can be the tiebreaker there with where you go.
Yeah, for me, I got LeBron bottom of A. I think he's behind Austin and Rui. I think he had a good game, but not a game in which you could put near S tier or above Austin and Rui, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm cool with that.
And I imagine the rest, like we put these in N/A. Same thing with Cam because they didn't play.
Yeah, I think those.
Wait, I want to say it almost. This is such a hater thing, but I almost want a new tier.
I already know.
Chess and Maxwell, because like technically they have played for the Lakers the last year and preseason, and they're so bad, dude. But honestly, for me, I could go with either on this list below Bronny, which is crazy, or NA because they didn't play. So I'm good with either.
So what you're saying is we need an F tier now too.
Pretty much, because like if you think about them guys who play, it's like, damn, Maxwell Lewis is one of my biggest disappointments the last few years. I was really high on him when we drafted him.
Mr. Pepperdine. So, bro, I was so excited when we drafted him. Oh, we got to steal. But some things happen and some things don't.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, but I think this is solid for opening week. Obviously, this is going to fluctuate a lot going into the season. We'll have multiple games a week moving forward, so we'll have more than base off this list coming into next week's show for sure. We'll have like extra 1, 2. It's at least 2. Is it 3 games between now and next week? Maybe more.
Probably like 2. It was like Friday and Saturday, Suns and Kings, and then I don't know after that, but
we have a back-to-back.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's fast. Bet.
Yeah, it's kind of weird because then at that point, then why not just space it like every other day, like normal, and do the Suns game today and Kings Saturday? But I don't know why they did that, but yeah.
Maybe that must mean that the Kings have to play the Clippers then. Probably.
Does someone know if the Suns play the Lakers at home? Do you guys know tomorrow?
Oh, that's a good question.
Yeah, it's a home game.
Okay, cool.
The fourth game.
I saw something about traffic. That's why I bring that up. LA traffic obviously is brutal, but you got Dodgers, Yankees game 1, plus a concert at the Clippers place, plus Lakers, Suns, and then there was a USC football game on Friday. It's gonna be crazy tomorrow.
Might as well walk.
I know this is a basketball podcast, but I got Dodgers in 6. I'm calling it Dodgers in 6. Slight bias because I'm a Dodgers fan, but Dodgers in 6.
I got
I respect that.
6 as well.
I'll be the deciding vote. Dodgers in 6.
I feel like I can't be unbiased if the Lakers or Dodgers were in the finals. Like if the Lakers hypothetically made the finals against Celtics, I would take Lakers in 7, and you guys probably would too. But
yeah, for sure,
it's hard. It's a little hard, but the Dodgers look so good. I mean, their starting pitching sucks too, and they're still this good.
Yeah, And I feel like at this point, when you make it this far, you deserve to be biased. At that point, I don't even think it can be
Yeah.
categorized as bias. Like your team made it that far. There's no way you're not gonna support them to win. So I'll rock with that. I'll stay with the crew at 6. No, my team is nowhere close to competing this year. Shout out to the Braves.
Well, the Braves had a couple really good runs recently. I
Yeah.
want to say they only had one World Series win against the Astros, but the Braves have looked pretty good. And then we stole their franchise player, but he's injured right now. Freeman.
Sadly.
Actually, sorry. Acuna is way better anyway. Acuna is still on the board.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And shout out. Last thing I'll say, too. I will say this, because shout out to Jake once again. Shout out to Jake on Twitter. I did have complaints about League Pass as well, because it was bugging last night. I had it on my TV. It was like choppy, slow, boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
I switched to the other TV. It's just running perfectly smooth. Like, and then they said the split screen was added, but it's only still on laptop. Like, it's just a lot of League Pass. Get on it, bro. I know it's two days into the season, but let's get on to it. Let's fix it sooner rather than later. Respect.
That was a tweet I had, Earl, that you're referencing that I really wish went viral because it was so funny to me that I had Meth streams on my iPad, and it was literally, I swear to God, like, and I refreshed and everything. It was about 20 seconds ahead of League Pass, and I'm pretty sure Meth streams, I thought they pulled games from League Pass, but I think they actually just pull it from the broadcast. Like if it was, I'm trying to think of a good example. If it was Kings Bulls, they'll pull it from the Bulls or Kings broadcast. It was 20 seconds ahead and very clear. And NBA League Pass was so blurry. I was like, what's going on? I thought it may be a playback issue, to be honest with you, earlier in the day. But it's not. Shout out playback right here. It's not their fault. It actually is just how the NBA League Pass is.
Yeah, and slight suggestion for everybody out there watching. I know there's a couple people out there. Shout out to everybody on Twitter and in our chat room today. But I have found that it does help. I don't know if it works for every cable, but if you connect your cable to your NBA League Pass on the NBA.com, it connects it so you can watch it through your cable. So that helps. It doesn't lag as much. I would say try that if your cable allows you to do that. So
you know what's crazy is I think you're right, but I don't even have cable these days. So
I only got it from my parents. I just log into theirs.
I've got a League Pass for free. No, my parents don't have it either, so I wouldn't even be able. It's crazy because like a lot of people have gone away from cable or whatever, and I've been getting League Pass for free the last 2 years. So I don't know, dude. I honestly may have to use illegal streaming, and that was kind of my point of the tweet of the NBA's almost biggest competition in a sense to League Pass is illegal streaming because the NBA has all the rights. And it's like, how are you worse than meth streams or crack streams? Like, how are you worse than that? And you want people to watch on your platform. Like, what? I don't understand. They've had years to perfect this. It's kind of weird.
Yep. And they also wanted to add in sports betting directly into the app. Yeah. No shot a game would ever load if they did that. I'm sorry. We could.
I know. Imagine the buffering with like the FanDuel props on the side. That would not work. I don't know if they can even, like, before they fix that or do that, can they just please fix the streams in general?
Exactly. And the last thing I'll say real quick too is I think it's absolutely insane that the new like Atlanta network now is bought by FanDuel. You can't even use that in Atlanta, which is actually funny in a way. So it's just a lot of different side, like everybody's side local network is getting bought out by different companies, and they got different streaming forms to watch games. It's getting kind of crazy out here, bro.
For me, I think it's because I could be wrong, but I had heard that FanDuel bought Bally Sports, which like was
that's what it is.
Damn near, and like Valley Sports was Fox Sports or something before that. But I mean, FanDuel is a pretty successful company. I'll give them that. But like, it is kind of crazy still.
Yep.
Of course, before we get to a schedule, please prediction moving forward, I forgot to add JJ Redick on the list. So these Spurs fans, listeners who did miss it earlier when we gave our grades, but for everyone here, what is your grade for JJ Redick? Like, where does he belong on this tier list?
Well, if Earl said A-, Alan said B+, we should go back to that. We shouldn't switch. I said A+. Does anyone know how to average letter grades? I don't know. B.
Yeah, I think if you do it like that, it's gonna be averaged around something around an A. So
yeah, I guess it would be, the average would be like about A-, between A- and A. So is JJ above? Let's do it like he's a player. Is JJ above Bron, Rui, or Reeves? I guess but our average
better than all of them.
Put him closer to the end of A.
I would say he shoots better than all of them, so I'm putting him above. JJ Redick for the win.
Just think about it this way. If AD is the most valuable reason we won, I'm pretty sure JJ is the second most.
For sure. Yeah, I put him at top of A. Top of A for me, personally. The reason why those guys were successful is because JJ Redick put them in those situations.
Yeah, coaching is important. Like, we're learning that in real time once again after the Ham kind of transition to JJ. Like, coaching is very important in the NBA.
Yeah. Yeah, cool. I think this is a good start for our week 1 of the NBA season tier list. Yes. And I'm sure Alan will have that across.
Sorry, Alan, why is there no Nate McMillan, bro? What the hell?
Hey, if we could have consistent coaches, but hey,
Lindsey Harden.
I'd put them C tier.
Yeah, that's fair.
JJ and the band is what he's rated at A.
JJ built like an entourage actually, because like kind of the show entourage, because I feel like all those coaches who are assistants have unique skill sets. I like the group he put together a lot. I thought it was one of the only wins of the summer, but there are also people who have had an impact on his life. Like, I know he was connected to all of them in different ways. The only one he'd be missing would be like a Stan Van Gundy, who coached him early on in Orlando, but he's a broadcaster, of course.
Yeah. No, yeah. Woohoo. Schedule prediction. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Last to end the
man,
pod.
I need to. Oh man, I gotta remember my thing. No, you're good. My fault.
Schedules. Our next game is versus the Phoenix Suns tomorrow. After that, Sacramento, at Phoenix, at Cleveland, and of course, we will preview this game versus the Toronto Raptors on the podcast for next Thursday at Toronto. So within these next 5 games, what will be the Lakers' record?
4-1. 4-1. That's my prediction. I think we win versus the Suns the first time, win versus the Kings the first time, then I think we lose to the Suns, because I just always believe it's hard to beat a team 2 times in a span of 3 days at that. So that will be my only reasoning. I think Sacramento. I said Sacramento. Sacramento is a business trip for us. I think that's one of AD's biggest obstacles is guarding guys like Sabonis and putting up good production versus them. So I expect them to have a big game early on into the season. And the Suns, I mean, we played the Suns so many times, bro, last season. It gets exhausting. And I really do think we can match up well. First half of the Suns game in the preseason, I think we did good with our regular rotations. But obviously, once those guys came out, things didn't go so great. And guys weren't really warmed up and locked in. So I think we win our next game versus the Suns. So I think that's why I'm at 4-1. I'm going really optimistic. That's just my personality on the show, and I'm gonna stick with it. And I could be completely wrong, but I think I'm gonna hang out with that answer for sure.
I would say the most likely it's a very hard schedule. Keep in mind to start the year. We've talked about that. I'd say the most likely is 3-2 because
Yep.
I think win versus Phoenix and then lose versus Sacramento on a back-to-back on a back-to-back that's rough. Then you lose versus wait, did I say lose versus Sacramento? Yeah, I did. Lose versus Phoenix because the season series will most likely be 2-all, which so like a 1-1 start does make a lot of sense. And it's a road game, our first one, and then win against Cleveland and Toronto. So I'm gonna say 3-2, although a lot of me wants to say 4-1, like Earl said, with us beating the Kings and starting 3-0. I hope we start 3-0, but just in case we don't, I'm gonna say 3-2.
I'm also thinking about as Jake, 3-2. I think we lose a close game versus Sacramento, and we lose. I'm not gonna say a blowout, but I'm gonna give like maybe 8+ points versus Phoenix in their home. So yeah, same thing. So we might end up 4-2.
I would say also the Cavs game is hard, and it's hard to predict. Like you go on the road for literally only one game against a team like the Cavs, who's pretty good. But at the same time, like I'm not really worried about that game in a weird way. I don't really know why, but I see us winning that game. I feel like we've had success against Cleveland the last few years. I think that's fair.
Yeah, and I think I know why. I mean, the owner of Cleveland, who has the keys to every room in that in that building, is on our team. So it's just
Yeah.
a different level. When LeBron gets all nostalgic and walks around those hallways, he just turns into a different beast. So I think that's kind of where our confidence comes from with the Cleveland games. And I'll say this: a lot of TV games, a lot. That's like what 1, 2, 3, 4 out of the next 7 are on
Or
TV.
what?
I want to.
Or what?
Oh, I'm just talking about like just TV games, like national TV games, or I guess NBA TV doesn't count, but I'm pretty sure a lot of people have NBA
I
TV.
don't know if NBA TV counts. I think it might.
Yeah,
I would say that the stretch with Philly, Memphis, San Antonio is a little irregular because that's 3 of 4 national. And I feel
that is
like
true. Yeah,
2 weeks into the season, that would be a little irregular. I mean, we
true.
obviously
Yeah,
get some of the most national games regardless. But I will say, like, if it's harder to watch national on League Pass or on a playback and we stream a lot of those games, the next stretch will be pretty nice after Phoenix.
and I will say, I will be reclaiming my sleep back because that East Coast is gonna look nice for me.
Yeah, you're
Appreciate
right.
that, Lakers.
4:30, 4:35, and then even down 4:35. Yeah, you're not wrong.
Gonna look nice, but regardless, we're gonna be on the streams, watching the games when we can, and reacting afterwards when we can. So we ball.
Yeah, and I said this earlier, I would like to do more streams on this channel too, especially when it's just so Lakers centric. Like I love
Yeah,
Caden and the stuff he's working on over there, but I know he would be able to come here just as easily, and I feel like we may as well grow the Questor 18 room a lot, especially because it's
yeah,
Lakers branded. So for Lakers games, it would be good to do over here.
yeah, for sure. Yes, sir.
Any last topics or anything? These hot takes, or you want to discuss before we do it in the pod?
Are we doing like an official hot take section right here?
Anything? Hot takes or any topic?
Earl,
Hot take.
or yeah, I was about to say you always have amazing hot takes, and now that the season's back, I'm expecting some stuff because this summer doesn't really count.
All right, first hot take of the season. Here it comes. I usually go good on the first one, so I'll take it easy. I don't want to use too much of my skill early on into the season. First hot take is versus the Phoenix. Nah, that's too soon. All right, versus the Sacramento Kings. I have Anthony Davis putting up a 35-point double-double. I I don't even think that's really a hot take, but versus Sabonis, he hasn't really had the best matchup history, so I'll take it as a hot take. Also, I think between one of these 5 games, I think D'Angelo Russell is going to have a 7 3-pointer game. Don't know which game, but I feel like that's a really fun hot take to throw out there. So
Bro,
there's my 2.
sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. First of all,
No, I'm done. Yeah.
those are 2 great takes. Just unbiased, not even like as your friend, but I think they'll both happen. But my problem with your takes is actually that I don't know if they're hot takes. Like I might need
you go. Okay, look.
I need you to throw out a hot take, like you used to say.
All right, bet.
Because last season,
you're right.
Like, oh, AD is gonna have like 45 to 50 in one of these games. I was like, yo,
you're right. I need to step it up.
Yeah,
I appreciate you calling me out on that. Okay, look, I'm gonna change my answer. I have been pushing the Sabonis narrative, and I think if I'm gonna say it, I gotta double down and really mean it. So the Sabonis game, so we're gonna take out a Sabonis bag. I think Anthony Davis gets a 40-point triple double. Sabonis is the triple double guy up there with Jokic with the I think he was second in triple doubles last year. So why not take his bag? I think we've seen him do it one time last season, 80 with a triple double. Why not have it versus the King? So I got a 40-point triple double. I truly don't think anybody can stop 80 when he's hot, even Sabonis. I know he plays physical, but if 80 can score 36 shooting around 40% from the field, if he's more efficient, he can definitely do that again. So I got 40-point triple double. That's my first hot take. And then you know what? I'll boost it up. D'Lo, best Laker shooter in NBA history. You know what? 7 is not enough. I have D'Angelo Russell. 1 game out of these first 5, he's gonna hit y'all with what's the record for threes? I don't want to get too crazy in the game.
It's like 15 that they're 14.
Okay.
No, 15 Curry or something.
Okay. I'm gonna take my 7 threes and I'm bump it up to 10. I think D'Lo has a 10 3-point night, and I think he hits 4 in a row. All in a row. 4 threes, just straight up back to back to back to back. They call a timeout on us. So I got D'Lo 10 threes. I have Anthony Davis 40-point triple double. And you know what? We're here. I have LeBron James dropping. What's even I don't even know what a crazy hot take is for Bron nowadays. Like, it's LeBron.
It's hard to know.
Yeah, forget that. I'm not gonna do any Bron hot takes yet. I'll get Austin Reeves. I need Austin Reeves a 25+ point game for Austin Reeves. I think that's fair to start off the season. So that's my 3. Appreciate the call out. Had to make it a little bit hot.
Well, you know what I like is you took the same good ideas and you made it a hot take. So that works. Yeah, I mean, honestly, one of mine was going to be Austin Reeves' 30-point game because I think he's capable. I'm not even sure how many times he's done it. Maybe only a few. But I think like scoring wise, he does kind of want to bounce back from game 1. And with the energy level we've seen, I think he has like the motor right now to do it. But my other one is more of a hot take. I think Dalton Connect will have a 25-point game in the next 5 games. The reason that that's such a hot take, okay, because look, he could do it, right? Like in the preseason when he got a lot of minutes, he had like, 36 or something? 35, I think. But like, if Dalton gets minutes for real one of these games, I think he'll have 25 points. And honestly, like, I think our minutes are the thing that's holding him back from being rookie of the year, or like they could hold him back from being in the conversation. So since the season just started, I'll give a season-wide hot take and say I got Dalton Connect winning rookie of the year if JJ gives him at least 20 minutes a night, which is much easier said than done because he didn't get there. But we'll see. What about you, Alan? You there? Are you? Oh, okay.
Yeah, just had to post our tier list on our Twitter at Quest18Pod. The link is on our chat. And of course on Twitter, like I said, Quest18Pod. Follow us there. And yeah, at least for my hot take, I got AD being a top 5 MVP candidate, and JJ Redick, top 3 Coach of the Year candidate. I feel like I've seen enough but I feel like I am confident about AD and JJ Redick being arguably the best this year.
I think you're right. That's a really good take because I don't know. I can't tell you if JJ is going to win it. And I don't think we're even going to have the record to win it. Like, what if the Magic have an insane record, or the Bucks bounce back, or the Suns bounce back, and they're top few seed? Plus, of course, like the Celtics obviously being there, the Thunder with Mark Daigneault. But JJ in his first year, with it seems like the level of coaching he's going to provide is going to get consideration for Coach of the Year. So I think if we're a top 6 or 5 seed, then he would deserve to be top 3. So I agree with that. But I also think it's a hot take, so I like that.
I'll throw in a bonus one. I like those. Y'all got me inspired. I don't even think this is a hot take. Still, though, I think Anthony Davis wins Defensive Player of the Year. And with that added on, I think, I forget who said it, maybe it was Jake. I think in order for that to happen, we have to be a top 5 team when the season's over in the West. I think that's the only way they're going to give it to us. We have to beat out the Timberwolves in standings. So, another hot take. I'll stack it on. This is my all-time hot take. I think the Los Angeles Lakers finish on the season better than the Minnesota Timberwolves. Anthony Davis wins Defensive Player of the Year. That's my all-time hot take for this year. I don't think it's going to get hotter than that. Especially, I think the Timberwolves are going to figure things out quickly after that loss to us. Definitely probably feel a little bit salty about that. So it's going to be a nice competition. And I think people already expect us to play bad. You see, like Jake said, every media outlet pretty much trashing us and what we can be as a team, how we're like pretty much a floor, or not floor, pretty much our ceiling is playing. I see a lot of people talking about, which is cool. I mean, I think we all believe in this coaching staff and what we can provide. Base level right now, I think we're a good team. One trade away with a center, I think we're a contender. So as long as we just keep winning the games we should be winning, playing good basketball, I think this hot take can definitely develop into something special. So I'm riding with that. That's my all-time on the season hot take. So hopefully for Anthony Davis' sake, I think after he's in our first game, when have we seen Anthony Davis like right after the game talk like that? Like that's defensive player of the year type of stuff. Like he's here. Like that level of confidence from AD, if he's rocking like that, then I'm gonna shoot the same confidence back. So we went AD this season for defensive player.
I want to just say I like that one a lot. Before we end the show, like number one, I don't think it's a hot take if you're a Lakers fan, like, oh, AD should win it. But I think the reason that it's a great hot take overall is because of how like they disrespect him. So I'm going to agree with your take off the bat and say, yeah, if we're a top few seed, but even more so if we're a top few defense, like if they can look and say, oh, he led a top 5 defense in the NBA, then he'll deserve because it would be like him being the primary guy, probably Vanderbilt helps a lot, then he would deserve it. I think he's going to win. I think awards in the NBA are media driven, like narrative driven, and the media votes for him. And AD kind of saying that in game 1 when he's normally like very quiet about that kind of stuff kind of planted the seeds. Like that will have a bigger impact than people realize. And that look he gave the camera, that signature AD look, I love that. I love seeing that side of him. I remember how happy we were in the in-season tournament, like finals, when he was like mean mugging the camera and stuff like that. But I want to, my point is I want to add to your hot take and make it even hotter with something else for season long before we call it. This podcast is called Quest for 18. I genuinely believe that the Lakers are going to win their 18th championship this season. And when you guys say one trade away, part of my hot take saying that we're going to win the championship, I'm telling you, people don't have faith in Rob. But after not making a trade happen this summer, there's going to be a 1 or 2 decent-sized trades, not like superstar, but decent-sized trades during this season, probably at the trade deadline, potentially in January, December. I have the Lakers trading for a backup center, starting caliber center, and I also have us trading for one more 3-and-D player. I do have D'Angelo Russell leaving the team in that case. And I'm not sure who else, maybe JHS or Lewis, but I have the Lakers making 1 to 2 decent sized trades and winning the championship. And I 100% believe that. And I also think we're going to be matched up with the Celtics, because Dodgers Yankees got me kind of feeling like this could be the the sports year where it's you get the two biggest matchups in sport, like biggest rivalries in sports with the MLB, and then not biggest rivalries, sorry, the two powerhouses, blue bloods of the sport with Dodgers Yankees. I do think we're going to see Lakers Celtics. And honestly, just to argue for that take, who's really that scary in the West from the Lakers perspective? Because the Thunder are one of the best teams and they don't scare me. The Suns are one of the best teams. They don't scare me. The Timberwolves can be, and they don't scare me. And honestly, the Nuggets, the scariest team for the Lakers to play, the Nuggets continue to get worse and we continue to get better. And I'm telling you, there's going to be a different result this season with the Nuggets. Our main competition would be the Celtics in the finals. So I think, we're at least going to get there. And I think we're going to have this is going to be the last magical Bron run and probably AD's last finals. And I think we're going to win the championship this year.
Bro, you said a lot of good. And I'm glad you said the thing about the West, because I've been called crazy for saying stuff like that. No team in the West, I was never scared of any team, fearful for any team in the West, except for the Nuggets. We talked about that all last year. That's the only team in our way on the obstacle that we just could not pass. We couldn't figure it out. I don't know what it was. Call it coaching, call it whatever. We had JJ Redick at the time. Maybe we passed, probably, but we can't go back in time. So it is what it is. We have him now, and things look good. We beat the Timberwolves, bro. In that game, we shot terrible. I don't think I understand they got rid of Carl and stuff like that. I get it. But pretty much the rest of that core is the same. So for me, seeing that game, the Suns game tomorrow is going to show me a lot. Same with the Kings. If we beat, I don't really care about the Suns. I already talked about it. We played the Suns like 18 times last season. It's going to be back and forth, whatever. It just depends on what the Suns are doing. But for me, if we beat the Kings, that's the only other kind of question mark I have around Anthony Davis going into the season. He just turns into a shell of himself, really, versus the Kings. Who else is it? Maybe sometimes versus Joel at times, but I mean, Joel is just a huge physical center. I want to see how he really acts to that gameplay this year. I just want to see how he plays versus the top bigs in the league. And if Anthony Davis is locked in like that, I have no fear for any team. Only team, obviously, being the Celtics. That's the matchup we all want. That's the matchup we wanted last year, but unfortunately, we couldn't get there. It was our fault, Lakers community. It should have been Lakers Celtics, respectfully. But that's a conversation for another day. But yeah, I'm locked in. I think it's going to be a great season. I'm going all in for championship, banner number 18, quest for 18. This is the year. I'm riding with that hot take 100%.
And the Lakers, if they got past the Nuggets, would have had a good chance, even with Darvin Ham, to beat the Timberwolves and then beat the Mavs. So I don't know if we would have beat the Celtics. That feels like a lot. But, we would have been right there. And we got better, and people can't see it because you didn't see the Lakers trade for a superstar. You didn't see us trade for Walker Kessler yet. You can't see it. But my point is with Rob and trades, it's you guys have to understand that if the Lakers look really good and they're about the 4th seed around the deadline, then that gives Rob and the front office a responsibility and kind of the go-ahead to make the 1 to 2 necessary trades we've been hoping for. And then that would put us in a position to compete. So if the Lakers were horrible with Russ, traded for Vanderbilt and D'Lo and Beasley and made the Western Conference Finals, imagine a good Lakers team from the start that got a similar upgrade at the deadline with, mid-sized pieces. That team would be able to make the finals. And that's really where I'm coming from. But yeah, we're going to have to change this name to Quest for 19 if everything goes right.
I'll at least show some love. So LeBron James, his best career in assists was 10.2. I think there's potential for him this year to get a double double, get near that 10.2 assists per game. Obviously, he'll average 20 plus points, and yeah, LeBron will also have a great career as well this year. So, yeah, that's all for these podcasts. I am post down in the chat. I said to that there. Post out, check out our link tree. That's where all our social medias are. Go on your Spotify, drop our 5-star review. We'll be dropping our past podcasts and some other podcasts in a bit. And yeah, as always, have a great rest of the day. Shout out to Jake. Shout out to Earl. Shout out to everybody who joined in. Shout out to Lakers Legend with the support. And like I said, if you're on Twitter, follow us at Quest18Pod. I posted all down in the chat that we possibly may have a new date/time that's still to be determined. But as always, stay tuned for that. And yeah, as always, is go Lakers. Have a great day. Peace, everybody.